Atlanta wins the toss and elects to receive, and Gostowski kicks off. Gonzalez summed it up perfectly. They have to finish. This is a team noted for comebacks through the past few years, but blowing 2 leads and then blowing a couple of leads in the playoffs last year. And Jacquizz Rodgers, who will alternate at running back tonight with Jason Snelling, is back to receive the kickoff. So here we go on Sunday Night Football from Atlanta. And Rodgers will down it in the end zone with the Falcons, and Ryan taking over at the 20. Let's take a look at the Atlanta starters.
Matt Ryan, Boston College.
Jacquizz Rodgers, Oregon State.
Patrick DeMarco, South Carolina.
Julio Jones, the University of Alabama.
Roddy White, Alabama, Birmingham.
I'm Tony Gonzalez, University of California.
Sam Baker, Southern Cal.
Justin Blaylock, Texas.
Peter Kunz, Wisconsin.
Garrett Reynolds, University of North Carolina.
Jeremy Trueblood, Boston College.
Chris talking about protection up front, and that has been the key for Ryan this season. He's a whole lot better when he has time and when he's not contacted. We'll show you some numbers later as the pass to the outside is hauled in by Tony Gonzalez. So right off the bat, they go to the tight end, run out of bounds by Hightower after a gain of 4. Ryan 34-5. He'll go no huddle here in this building. He was drafted in the first round in 2008. First round also that year, Joe Flacco. So the two side by side in their careers. With Flacco, of course, winning the Super Bowl last year. When will it be Ryan's turn? Jacquizz Rodgers up the middle for a gain of a couple. 3rd down and 3.
Already good matchups across the board here. Probably the most intriguing one, Aqib Talib of the New England Patriots. Their best corner has been on Julio Jones, but this time Alfonso Dennard comes over here to match up.
Again, going no huddle, hurry up at the outset, or at least no huddle. Now Ryan will slow it down in the first minute of the game on 3rd down and 3. Has time, shoots one over the middle, and that's Gonzalez making a great catch between 2 defenders. 17 years in the league, he still has it, huh?
I don't know what you do. Drod Mayo is going to have absolutely perfect coverage on this one, and you just go up, the old basketball player, and hauls the thing in. I mean, that is indefensible.
25-yard gain. They are in New England territory at the 47-yard line. Swing it to the outside. This is Rodgers, and Rodgers will take it for a gain of about 6. Tackled there by Steve Gregory.
One more time, a look at this catch. Mayo has to be thinking, what in the heck do I have to do? The safety, Steve Gregory, right over the top as well.
Gonzalez catching a pass in his 199th consecutive game, second only to Jerry Rice. Rice with 274. And it's a first down here as Jacquizz Rodgers moves inside the 35-yard line. So a good start. A lot of teams recently deferring, but Mike Smith says, I want the ball against this New England defense. Wins the toss, and they're on the move.
A lot of hand signals going on with Matt Ryan. There's a little, he's doing the basketball thing, and guess who the basketball player was on that one? Tony Gonzalez.
Now Snelling comes into the game. Snelling at 5'11", 234, replacing the 5'6", 195-pound Rodgers. 2 of them both played well last week at Miami. Play action. Buys a lot of time, but then he has to check it down to the outside, and it's caught by Harry Douglas, their number 3 receiver. Let's take a look at the New England defense.
Rob Ninkovich, Purdue University. Vince Wilfork, the U.
Tommy Kelly, Provine High School.
Chandler Jones, Syracuse University.
Dante Hightower, the University of Alabama.
Brandon Spikes, Florida.
Gerard Mayo, Tennessee.
Aqib Talib, North Dallas, Texas.
Steve Gregory, Syracuse.
Devin McCourty, Rutgers.
Alfonso Dennard, University of Nebraska.
Talib leading the league coming into the weekend with 3 interceptions, former Tampa Bay Buck.
Talib has lots of help on that last one, a double move from Julio Jones with the safety over the top.
2nd and 5. Ryan under pressure throws, and that's caught by Roddy White. White trying to get healthy. He's been bothered by a gimpy ankle, and of course what they've been able to do with defenses is double Jones pay a lot of attention to Gonzalez, but if White can get healthy, that's going to open up for everybody.
Well, especially down in the red zone, which is the one place that we've seen the Atlanta Falcons struggle here lately. Probably cost them the game last week.
On the ground, here is Snelling. And Snelling, seventh-year back out of Virginia, gain of 3. Bill Belichick took over as the New England coach in 2000. 14 seasons, 3 Super Bowl titles, 5 Super Bowl appearances. Mike Smith came here in 2008 and has really done a masterful job. Falcons finally getting off the schneid last year, winning a playoff game, but losing in the NFC Championship game to the 49ers, costing them a trip to the Super Bowl.
Stay in the 2 deep, probably come run here now.
Instead, play fake to the outside, making the catch is Roddy White, and White takes the ball to the 5. Run out by Dennard there. It'll be 1st and goal.
In the first couple of games, there has been a noticeable limp out of Roddy White, and we are seeing the single coverage on the outside against him. The protection much better already than what we saw a week ago. Certainly is going to help having Sam Baker back in there.
Rodgers back in the game. This is the 10th play of the opening drive, all no huddle. Ryan, screen. That's Jones, but sniffed out beautifully. Nothing but white shirts around Julio Jones as he's tackled just about at the line of scrimmage. Devin McCourty leading the charge, 2nd and goal.
Oh boy, I'm just not exactly sure how in the world Devin McCourty got through there on that one. 2 blockers out in front of him. That looked like a walk-in touchdown for Julio Jones, and McCourty split them both.
Ryan is 7 for his first 7. You've got Vince Wilfork, who is down for New England. And of course, anytime you stop a drive like this, the crowd thinks he's faking. Injury timeout. The venerable Vince Wilfork has been fighting through a foot injury, and that's the issue right now. Of course, the crowd thought he was faking it, so they started to boo, but take a look here.
Yeah, you could see once he stepped on that right foot, it just sort of went sideways, and then he went down while the play was still very much in front of him, so that was no fake.
So here's Joe Villano, a free agent rookie out of Maryland, who takes that spot along the defensive front on 2nd down and goal. Ryan, and that one is out of the back of the end zone. They went 3-by-1 to the right side. Gonzalez on the left side. Gerard Mayo with the coverage. It'll be 3rd down and goal after Ryan's first incomplete pass of the game.
One of the most improved players, I think, is right here, Dante Hightower, the young linebacker who has improved so much in nickel situations. And there's Tony Gonzalez working against Mayo down the field as well. So perfect coverage that way, force the throwaway.
12th play of the drive. They've run it 3 times, thrown it 8. Snelling is in the backfield with Ryan. Now he's flanked by Douglas as well. Rolling to his right, throwing, and that's out of the back of the end zone as well. Julio Jones blanketed by Dennard, so the drive bogs down, and they'll have to settle for a field goal attempt.
Good coverage across the board. There's Aqib Talib on Roddy White. Nothing there. Julio Jones with Dennard coming across the back of the end zone. Ryan was uncomfortable. Tony Gonzalez couldn't get off the line of scrimmage, blocking over there, so they pick up where they left off a week ago, and that's having problems scoring down inside the 10.
And here is Matt Broughton for a 23-yard field goal attempt that puts 3 points on the board after the opening drive of the game. Atlanta up 3-0. Meanwhile, if anybody was thinking that Wilfork was faking it, there's your answer right there. Shoe off, sock off, and on his way back to the locker room on a cart. And that posture to kick off. And the guy Blunt can only watch this one sail out of the back of the end zone as we take a look at the New England starters.
Tom Brady, Michigan.
Stephen Ridley, Louisiana State University.
Julian Edelman, Kent State.
Kimbrell Tompkins, Miami Northwestern Senior High. Aaron Dobson, Marshall University.
Michael Holm, now Nui, Illinois.
Nate Solder, Colorado.
Logan Mankins, Fresno State.
Ryan Lundell, Fresno State. Dan Conley, Southeast Missouri.
Sebastian Ballmer, University of Houston.
So Ballmer, who was questionable coming into the game, will start. Ridley will start. James Devlin is also in the backfield. They'll start with a fullback as he moves to the left side, and Brady hands the ball off on first down to Stephen Ridley for a gain of 5. So for Tom Brady through the years, he has, among other things, with his new receivers, a streak going. 51 straight games in which he's thrown a touchdown pass. Remember, Johnny Unitas held the record forever, and then Drew Brees broke it last year. Then Brees had his mark stopped at 54 by Atlanta, and Brady has a chance to tie it against New Orleans in 3 weeks, and then maybe break it against the Jets in 4. We'll see. 2nd and 5. Play action. A lot of time. Swings it to the outside for a first down. James Devlin making the catch. Another guy you barely know about. I mean, they've got Kimbrell Tompkins and Josh Boyce and Aaron Dobson, and here's another guy.
Yeah, the fullback just coming out of the backfield. Here's a guy that was a defensive lineman at Brown University, now playing fullback, and no problem whatsoever. When you get this much time to stand and throw the football, if you're Tom Brady, good things are going to happen.
From the 40. Brady with that long count, he's able to get Atlanta to jump offside. Jonathan Babineau came across. Was he induced is the question. Walt Coleman is tonight's referee.
Neutral zone infraction, 95 defense, 5-yard penalty.
You know, as we get into the New England receivers, Chris, it's worth noting, of course, we talked about Gronkowski not ready to play yet. Amendola got hurt on opening day. We all know about Aaron Hernandez in jail. So you've got all of these, and then you've got Wes Welker obviously going to Denver. But it's Tom Brady and his cast.
3 out of 4 of the receivers in the game right now are all rookies. I mean, it doesn't get any tougher than that if you're the quarterback trying to figure out where they're going.
1st and 5 from the 45. And the pass, ooh, it's incomplete and very dangerous, intended for Dobson and broken up by Dominique Franks.
Well, Dominic Franks, the only reason he's in the game is because Asante Samuel could not make it tonight. So they are down. You know Tom Brady's going to put 4 wide receivers on the field and find out how your 5th cornerback is going to be able to play. Well, he's passed the first test.
Well, the crowd booing here, but obviously you've got Nate Solder. He's not doing this by any time. And Solder has to come limping off. We're going to see Marcus Cannon come in at that spot along the line.
Marcus Cannon, a guy that has played a lot of football. He played the second half a week ago for Sebastian Vollmer, the other tackle.
55! Almost halfway through the opening quarter. This New England's first drive. And to the 49, just short of the first down, goes Ridley. Let's take a look at the Atlanta D.
Jonathan Mascoy, the Troy University.
Jonathan Babineau, Iowa.
Corey Peters, Kentucky. O.C. Umenyiora, Troy State.
Joplin Bartu, Texas State.
Akeem Dent, Georgia.
Paul Warlow, Delaware. Robert McLean, Tucson High School.
William Moore, Mizzou.
Thomas Deku, Glen Cove Elementary.
Desmond Trufant, Washington.
Nate Solder is back in the game. His shoe came off, so he just misses one play. 3rd and 1. The running back is Brandon Bolden. And Brady does that so often. 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. You got a flag here, however. Brady has been doing that his entire career, sneaking for first downs, but a penalty.
Yeah, what happened? The running back stepped up to try and see what Tom was saying.
Illegal shift on the offense. 2-man movement and not resetting. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
And that's Brandon Bolden, another of the young guy, 2nd-year guy out of Mississippi.
Bolden stepping up, say, "What'd you say, Tom?" And by that point, it was too late. about Tom Brady? He went off tackle there. Everybody knows he's going to run the quarterback sneak, and they still can't stop it.
3rd down and 6. Meanwhile, one of their corners, Desmond Trufant, just came off the field. Again, already minus Samuel. And
Falcons better call timeout.
Yeah.
They are really messed up. Brady gave him enough time to figure it out.
3rd down and 6. And Brady throws, and that's Kenbrell Tompkins who comes back to try to make the catch and can't. Frank's covering on the play. We'll see a lot of him, as Chris said, because Samuel's out. 4th down.
Young man undrafted, and Tom Brady said he came in the first day of practice and acted like he was a #1 draft pick. Plenty of confidence, has been playing very well. 2 touchdowns a week ago, just couldn't come up with that one.
Rookie kicker is Ryan Allen. Belichick loves the left-footed punters. We've got a flag, and that will bound into the end zone, but a flag is down just about at the line of scrimmage. It was 4th and 6.
Illegal formation on the offense. Number 36 was not on the line of scrimmage. That 5-yard penalty will be added on to the end of the play. 1st down at the 25.
And so there you have it with 6:15 to go in the opening quarter in Atlanta. 3-0. Mike Smith talking to his defense, and of course there's O.C. Umenyiora, the longtime New York Giant, now playing here as the offense goes to work from the 25-yard line. Rodgers is the running back. And they run a draw with the 5-6 Rodgers. And a flag is thrown, so it's an 18-yard gain, but we have another penalty in the offensive backfield. And it will come back.
Holding, number 72, offense. 10-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Left tackle Sam Baker, who was questionable to play tonight, and then a game time decision, or a 90-minute before the game, he was activated.
The sad part about that for the Falcons is that he really was far away from the play. That Quiz Rodgers was gone. I was wondering how long it was going to take for the Falcons to attack Joe Villano, who replaced Vince Wilfork. The answer was one play.
Well, wearing number 72 along that front. So from the 15 now, it's 1st and 20. Dumps it off to Rodgers. Swinging to the outside, trying to get around Mayo, and then coming up out of the secondary to make the tackle at the 21-yard line was Alfonso Dennard, and we go to Michelle.
Well, the official word on Vince Wilfork is that he is out with an ankle, questionable, I should say, with an ankle. You saw him go back to the locker room. It was the right foot that was completely uncovered. Tom Brady checked in with him on the sideline, and the indications that he got back from Vince Wilfork were not positive.
All right, thank you, Michelle. So Asante Samuel missing on one side, and now Wilfork on the other side for Atlanta. 2nd down and 14, and that pass is caught by Tony Gonzalez, and another penalty. Just a bunch of them coming in the last few plays. Steve Gregory making the tackle. Coleman again.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask, number 72, offense. Half the distance to the goal. 2nd down.
Well, Sam Baker, that's 2 big penalties in the first 10 minutes of the game.
Well, Chandler Jones 3 sacks already, and you would imagine Sam Baker maybe a little rusty coming back here, and so he's had to do what he could do to make some plays, but so far he has this offense in reverse out here.
And that's very unusual for a Mike Smith coached team, as you see there, since he took over in 08, 4.5 penalties per game, already 3 tonight.
NFL record last year, right? For fewest penalties
per game, right? In 40 years, it was the fewest penalties per game. 2nd and 25. And the inside draw. And Rodgers threading his way for a gain of 5. Tommy Kelly making the stop. Kelly, one of the new defenders, played with Oakland. He's been in the league for 10 years. And for Tommy Kelly, it's like a breath of fresh air. He said, man, I've never been to postseason. And now he's with the New England Patriots.
Best of my knowledge, first time he's really been on a winning football team. And talking to Belichick about him, he said you could just see the enthusiasm with this guy, and he has really helped them. And now the idea of playing without Vince Wilfork becomes even more significant.
3rd and 20. You've got both Rodgers and Snelling in the backfield, and you also have an Atlanta timeout. With 4:07 to play in the first quarter. Patriots defensively over the first 3 games. Granted, it's Buffalo and it's the Jets and it's Tampa Bay. I mean, not to diminish them. I mean, Buffalo wins today. They won 2 games. The Jets have won a couple of games as well. But week 1, E.J. Manuel makes his first ever start. Week 2, it's Geno Smith making his second ever start. Then they get Josh Freeman last week, and he winds up getting benched this week. So the Patriots winning 3 games, allowing only 11.3 points per game, and they were the beneficiary of a pretty soft schedule up front and took advantage of it.
Well, there's Matt Patricia, the defensive coordinator, and actually it's better than that. 34 points allowed, but 7 of those were on a fumble return, so really only 27 points allowed. Much better offense here tonight, though.
3rd and 20. Ryan stepping up and slings it, and the pass is incomplete. Good coverage on the play. Julio Jones covered by Aqib Talib in an all-star matchup, and it's 4th down.
I mean, this is how tough it's going to be tonight for Julio Jones. You've got one of the best corners in football, Aqib Talib running under him as there's a safety over the top. And Matt Ryan said, I don't care, I'm just going to sling it in there anyway. Had a chance, but Talib got his hand in there to break it up.
Matt Bosher to kick. Julian Edelman is back to receive. At this moment in time, Edelman has the highest punt return average in the history of the National Football League. Edelman averaging 13 yards per return. He calls for the fair catch and gets run into. Drew Davis is there, and the ball is loose. So Edelman called for the fair catch, was on the move, takes a shot at the 39-yard line. That's the last thing New England needs here. Edelman is the one guy that Tom Brady can really count on, but he does get up and walk back toward the huddle. Woo. So why was that not fair catch interference? It's a judgment call on the official's part, because Devin McCourty, you'll see here, was engaged with the Falcon Drew Davis, and thus, because he was engaged with him, I mean, it's an either-or call when you look at it, Chris.
Well, the only thing that I would say is he did lower that shoulder a bit, so you could see McCourty trying to pull off. Probably the right no call there, but that one was definitely close.
Very close, and that's why there's no fair catch interference. The ball bounced to the 25. That's where New England begins this drive. And Brady will set up a screen. And this is Stephen Ridley. And Ridley with a big gain all the way out to almost midfield to the 49-yard line, tackled there by the rookie Robert Alford after a gain of 24 yards.
The Patriots last week went this stretch bootleg play and threw the ball down the field. You can see the Falcons react back. So now they go to the next option off of that, a little screen out to Ridley. A guy who's kind of a forgotten guy, had like 1,200 yards or so a season ago, came out on opening day, and Shane Vereen was the starter and had over 100 yards. These backs just keep taking turns. Who's the leading rusher?
Belichick on the sideline, coaching up the defense. The ball at the 49-yard line. Ridley again to the 46-yard line. Third-year back out of LSU. 3 different backs have led the Patriots in rushing. Again, Chris talking about Vereen, who they hope to have back in November. He's on that short-term IR. And Stephen Ridley against the Jets on that rainy night when neither team could really move the ball. And LeGarrette Blount last week, the former Tampa Bay Buck, against Tampa Bay. And Blount is in the game right now. And his first carry of the game is to the 43-yard line, making it 3rd down and 2 for the Patriots.
Well, O.C. Umenyiora, you remember that name from the New York Giants. Sounds like they probably miss him a little bit now. Coming off the edge, they tried to go with that little tight end crack wham block, but O.C.'s seen that one before, and there to make it. Osi had a huge game last week, 2 sack fumbles, and already had an interception for a touchdown earlier this year.
3rd and 2. The back is Bolden. A toss to Bolden, swinging to the outside. Gets some nice blocking and picks up a first down to the 35-yard line. Sebastian Vollmer helping to lead the way to move the chains.
Good job on the outside by Aaron Dobson, one of the rookie receivers. He's the bigger guy, going to come down and make this block and really set that edge. And once he got that block made, pretty easy for Vollmer to go ahead and turn upfield to get the next one.
Minute and a half to go in the quarter. Laying on top 3-0. And Ridley probes the left side, takes the ball to the 28-yard line. Tackled by Akeem Dent. The Falcon defense, their defensive coordinator is Mike Nolan. Not that long ago, the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. 25th in the league in passing yards allowed, but 5th against the run.
A lot of young guys on that Falcons defense right now.
2nd and 3. Huge hole through the middle to the 14. And one guy they miss up front is Troy Bierman. He's on injured reserve, and Sean Weatherspoon's their best linebacker, and he is out for a few more weeks.
Got to watch the tight ends. Michael Ho, Manawa Nui is going to come down and get the defensive tackle. You think of trap blocks coming from the inside out with the Patriots offense. A lot of times it's from the outside in with these tight ends, and don't have the receivers that they used to have, but still pretty good blockers.
From the 14, first down. Blunt is the running back. I'm so proud of you. The first home Manawa Nui of the night coming out of your mouth. Very good.
Usually whatever you call them, that's what I go with the rest of the night. I think I've called them just about everything there is.
Mike H. into the first quarter. 3-0 Atlanta, and Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages. Bob Kraft has owned the Patriots since '94. Arthur Blank, founder of Home Depot, has owned this team since 2002. Play resumes, 2nd down and 6. This is Bolden from the 10-yard line. It's shoved back as he reaches the 8 by the safety William Moore. It'll be 3rd and 3. And the Patriots have really had trouble in the red zone. All you need to do is look at the numbers. They are last in the league in red zone percentage. What that means is touchdowns and possessions, only 30.8% getting it into the end zone once they're inside the 20-yard line.
And a season ago, the Falcons 5th best at keeping it out of the end zone in this situation.
Brady playing traffic cop. 3 receivers set to the left. Play clock down to 5. And they'll run it inside, and they'll give the ball to Bolden, and that's enough for a first down. So he takes the ball, needing 3, getting 3.5 to make it a 1st and goal.
Going right up the middle here with the double teams and just allowing the back to make a turn. It is interesting to watch this Patriot offense go without the no huddle, probably a little bit afraid in this noise with the young receivers, and they are slowing it down while the Falcons are going faster.
This time, though, they didn't huddle to keep the Falcons on the field, so they're going no huddle but not hurry up to keep the Falcons with the same personnel as 1st down and goal from the 4. And on the ground, trying to swing to the outside and bulling his way into the end zone is Brandon Bolden for the touchdown.
First things first, let's make sure this is across the line for a touchdown. Another nice block by Dobson, the wide receiver. Looks pretty good to me. How about you, Al?
I agree. They review everything upstairs.
Oh, maybe that's pretty close.
But any part of the ball crosses the front plane of the goal line. Of course, they're looking upstairs, and Coleman's waiting for confirmation.
I thought the first one looked like he was in.
Play will be reviewed.
The second one, I wasn't so sure.
Well, we'll take a closer look. So it's either going to be a touchdown or it's going to be 2nd down and 2 inches for a touchdown when we come back. Walt Coleman with the call. Looked like he was a little
After
short.
reviewing the play, the runner's right knee was down with the ball at the half-a-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and goal.
Eagle Eye Collinsworth looking at this. The right knee going down. It's when the right knee goes down, where's the ball? There it is.
I'll tell you, that was some run, though, by Brandon Bolden. He got hit at the 5-yard line and got it down to about the 2-inch line.
So there's Bolden, who would be number 4 on the running back depth chart if you count Vereen, but had a huge day last year in his rookie year against Buffalo. Now they bring Ridley in as the tailback and give it to him. And Ridley is going to be stopped just short. Line judge coming in, spotted at just outside the goal line, making it 3rd down and goal.
This was close, too.
Yep.
I think just short again. Chance for a huge goal line stand.
Well, that's not reviewed upstairs. If Belichick wanted a challenge, he'd have to throw the flag, but doesn't. Brady on play action. Brady swinging it into traffic. Complete for the touchdown. Matthew Mulligan. They just keep pulling guys in off the street, don't they?
They really do. But this was a play where Tom Brady had to go back to option number 2. How about this? Zach Sudfeld, option number 1. Matthew Mulligan, option number 2. I mean, you're talking about a who's who of the National Football League, and Brady just split those two guys. William Moore, that ball came in there so fast, I don't think William Moore could believe it. It went right past his hands.
Matthew Mulligan out of Maine, signed as a free agent, 5th year in the league, and he's been with 6 teams. But then he winds up with Brady, and that's all you need. 52 straight games with a touchdown pass for Tom Brady. And New England takes the lead 7-3 early in the 2nd period. Kickoff by Gostowski. Rodgers gets to run it back from a couple of yards in. Out to the 27. Well, Drew Brees, 54 straight games with a touchdown pass. Broke the record against San Diego on a Sunday night. Remember, Johnny Unitas had the record for decades. Then Brees got stopped by Atlanta after 54. And Brady now with 52. We mentioned before he'll have a chance if he gets one next week at Cincinnati to tie the record against the Saints and break it if he does that against the Jets in 3 weeks. Jason Snelling is the back. Number 26. And a little dump off his drop. Well, Bolden didn't get his touchdown, but as our illustrious statistician, Mr. George Hill, has been with me for 1,000 years, points out, they got a mulligan. Now, George said it. I didn't say it.
George deserves a little credit.
Of course he does.
He's been giving us lines for years up here. He deserves a little credit.
Ghostwriter. There he is. Mulligan, 6 teams in 5 years in the league. And then Brady finds him for the touchdown. 2nd and 10 from the 26. And that's caught by Gonzalez, but no room to roam. Steve Gregory with the tackle. It looked for all the world as if Tony was going to wrap it up after last year. Remember, he'd never won a playoff game. They beat Seattle. They get to the championship game. They have a big lead, but San Francisco makes the comeback, and then Tony goes home, thinks about it. And of course, the Falcons wanted him back, and here he is for what will probably be, you never want to say never, his last season.
Yeah, and Tony will tell you the final permission came from his kid.
Right.
He wanted to come home and spend more time with his kids. Kid gave him permission, so he's back.
3rd and 8. And that is caught. Gonzalez again to the 41. Hard to believe he's in his late 30s. He looks for a flag. He does get it for the face mask, and the tack on 15 more. And Tony's already caught 4 balls tonight for 44 yards.
Personal foul grasping the face mask, number 54, defense. 15 yards from the end of the play, first down.
Dante Hightower.
Well, they've been moving Tony Gonzalez around. They want to help him with the release. If you watch the Patriots at all, you know they love to bang on the tight ends and receivers and running backs coming out of the backfield. There you saw the foul. But Julio Jones here at the top of the screen, he's getting the double coverage. They are simply not going to let Julio Jones beat them. Someone else is going to have to, and so far that somebody is Tony Gonzalez.
Snelling plowing ahead. Gain of a couple. Second down and 8.
You know, it's kind of interesting to see some of the guys out there playing. Jeremy Trueblood, the right tackle, is a guy that was basically cut by Washington, played a long time in Tampa, and with some injuries to Mike Johnson, they had to find somebody. So they bring him in here, and like a couple of weeks later, he's playing with his old college quarterback, Matt Ryan. Doesn't really know what he's doing, but Matt Ryan's giving him some Boston College calls to help him understand what this offense is doing.
Second down and 8. Fly to the outside, and that'll be caught on the outside by Levine Tololo, a rookie out of Stanford who caught a touchdown pass last week in Miami. And now you've got Baker, who was questionable to play tonight and was activated just before the game and has already had a couple of penalties and now grasping the knee.
You know, he had issues with the ankle and knee coming in here.
Third down and 4 after Baker comes off. Lamar Holmes supplants him at left tackle. Jack goes Rogers is in the backfield with Ryan. And Ryan protected well, throws, and is it forward progress for a first down to Julio Jones? And it will be. Tackled by Gregory, but not until he picks up the first down. And there's Baker.
Give a little credit to Roddy White, the old high school wrestling champion. Does a little wrestling right here. Watch him just drive the defender off to clear things out for Julio Jones. He can say, I was trying to get a release. He was grabbing me. But they're going to have to start moving Julio Jones if they want to get him involved, because they've been all over him.
33-yard line, first down. Going deep on the sideline, and it's Jones covered by Talib. And of course, that's the big matchup tonight. When we talked to Julio Jones the other day, we said, how would you cover you? He said, I'd play the other side.
There's a lot of people would like to go to the other side. Still has the safety over that side. That time he slid to the middle of the field. Good read by Matt Ryan to give him a chance. But Aqib Talib is a guy that is going to be able to cover most people, but if you can cover Julio Jones, you can cover about anybody. I think the closest comparison for him is Calvin Johnson. Now, that's usually the standard, but this guy is tough.
Second and 10, Rodgers for a gain of about 5. Yeah, they traded up in the draft a couple of years ago. Gave 5 picks to Cleveland to get Julio Jones. Of course, you never know how that's going to turn out. We asked him the other day, too. He said, do you ever look at what those 5 guys are doing? He said, nope, never.
No, he's not interested, and he shouldn't be. He came into this game as the leading receiver in the league, tied with Julian Edelman. So the 2 top receivers coming in here, it was a bold trade by Thomas Dimitroff, but it ended up being a tremendous trade.
Thomas has done a really good job here. This team has had a lot of success over the past few years. Third down and 4 to the outside. Caught by Douglas, breaks a tackle, skirts down the sideline, first down. Broke away from Kyle Arrington. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, Sam Baker has gone back to the locker room. He's officially questionable with that knee. They were looking at his left knee, and I'm told that's the same knee, Al, that was bothering him earlier this week, and that kept him out of last week's game as well.
All right, thank you, Michelle. That means we're going to see a lot of Lamar Holmes, who certainly had his troubles last week in Miami.
It was interesting. He played a good first half in that game, and I was like, boy, I'm really impressed with this guy. Came out in the second half. I don't know if he got tired or what happened, and just his game kind of fell apart. They say sometimes his technique starts going crazy if he makes one bad play. Maybe that's what happened.
And Ryan flushed out, throws, and it's caught at the 10-yard line. Roddy White coming back with Ryan in trouble. Chandler Jones came flying in, beating Holmes, and put the pressure on the quarterback.
Well, Roddy White in a fist fight is about as good as anybody. And that time, I mean, there's no question his ankle is still bothering him. He's not been able to do, but I think he dropped that football.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if anybody else saw that one.
Oh, well, yeah, that's they actually called it. Yeah, they called it no catch. One official came in and made the correct call. It'll be second down and 10 now, back to the 15-yard line. Snowing. Nothing. Just about the halfway mark of the second quarter.
Boy, I tell you, Dante Hightower that time came in. I don't know if he surprised Garrett Reynolds or not, but he just stuffed him right back into Snelling on the back end of that play. This young man, he weighs about 275 pounds. He's bigger than the defensive ends on the Patriots. And when he decides to come downhill, he's tough to stop.
3rd and 10.
Express! Ready to go!
Over the middle, caught by Snelling, but he can't get the first down. Gets inside the 10. It's going to be 4th down. McCourty and Hightower making the play. It'll be 4th and 2.
And this crowd is getting restless with this red zone offense. It cost them a game a week ago. And at the very least, they're going to line up and see if they can't get the Patriots to jump off sides.
And you saw Belichick saying to his defense, you stay in there, stay in there.
I think that Mike Smith understands you're not going to beat the Patriots and Tom Brady with field goals.
4th and 2. And they will run the play. And rolling left and throwing too high and incomplete. So they'll turn it over on downs intended for Roddy White. So they let 3 points go by the board, wind up with none, and it's still 7-3.
Not even close from Matt Ryan. That was a horrible throw.
From the 8, after turning the ball over on downs, LeGarrette Blount is the running back, and the pass to the outside is caught. Up to the 15 goes Kenbrell Tompkins. Meanwhile, Belichick was actually trying to call a timeout before Atlanta ran that play.
Clearly didn't get it called in time, but this is the best when you try to call a timeout and then opposing quarterback sails one. You give it the old never mind.
2nd and 3. Patriots on their last drive went 75 yards in 12 plays. They started with a pass. They had 10 straight runs and ended it with a touchdown pass. To the ground again. This is Blount up to the 20-yard line.
You know, LeGarrette Blount's really sort of an interesting guy. Back at Oregon, it was LaMichael James after he had an incident where he punched a guy on the field who took over for him there. Then it was Doug Martin in Tampa Bay who took over for him down there. So he's available, and he is a 250-pound closer. We saw at the end of the game last week when they had to run out the clock, he took care of business.
Against his former teammates. Fake the end around, and Brady is able to escape a sack, and then he's going to go deep downfield. It's a little underthrown, but caught by Tompkins. And Tompkins gets to the 32-yard line. Kenbrell Tompkins adjusting. Goodman came in, almost had the sack, and that's a 49-yard gain.
Well, Tom Brady is going to get basically hit as he was about to throw this football, and just somehow muscled this thing out there, and like you would Randy Moss maybe, gave him a chance to make a play. Watch Tompkins go up and go get this thing. Brady was saying he reminds me of Chad Johnson. Now you see why.
From the 32. Oh, stuffed. It was William Moore who was involved with Tompkins on that last play. Couldn't stop the catch. Take a look again.
This is just fantastic. You get a Pro Bowl safety in front of you, and you simply go up over the top. Remember, Kenbrell Tompkins, undrafted, and yet he's a guy that came in here and just from day one has done nothing but study and work, and you can tell Tom Brady loves him.
2nd and 8.
Watch it.
Brady again. That's incomplete. But with Tom and his new receivers, I mean, you saw the Jets game, that Thursday night game, and Tom's body language and all that. So it wasn't love at first sight.
No.
But it's been growing.
You know, and I don't care who you are. When you come in the National Football League and you're trying to play with a Tom Brady, his level of understanding of what's going on is going to be somewhere other than where those two rookies are. I played with Kenny Anderson as a rookie, and he used to tell me, Chris, I have no idea where you're going. You just keep getting open, and I'll find you. That's basically what Tom's doing.
3rd down and 8 from the 30. And too high, intended for Tompkins. So it's 4th and 8. Line of scrimmage is the 30. You got Brandon Bolden, who's down on the turf, face down.
You know, he and everybody else is having troubles blocking Akeem Dent. Dent in their game last week was unbelievable blitzing the quarterback, and this time Bolden's going to miss as well. Had a sack and a half a week ago, and for some reason they took him out of the game on the final drive, and I think it cost him. The time was able to rush Tom Brady just enough to force the incompletion. Kimbrel Tompkins was open.
So there's Bolden, who's down. We talked about Shane Vereen, who got hurt after the opening game performance when he had a triple-figure rushing game. Stephen Ridley, of course, has to be the guy. Leon Washington, they picked up as a kick returner. He's also inactive tonight. Can play sparingly out of the backfield from time to time, but Ridley's going to just have to assume more and more of the load.
Oh, you know, Shane Vereen and Stephen Ridley were both drafted together in the 2nd and 3rd rounds in 2011, and they've sort of gone back and forth. Last year was Ridley had the big year, over 1,200 yards, had a couple of fumbling issues already this year as well. Vereen looked like he was going to take over the job, but then he hurt his wrist. He's on injured reserve with designation to return, but not until after week 8 or so, I think, when they can come back. So, but a lot of depth at running back for the Patriots.
48-yard field goal attempt coming now for Steven Gostowski. Ryan Allen will hold it. Danny Aiken will snap it. 48-yard attempt is over the top of the upright, but good. And you know the rule, if it's right over the top of the upright, it is good. 3:22 to the half. 10-3 New England. Someday maybe they'll put laser beams in. The exact rule is the whole ball has to be inside the outside edge. That's exactly what it says. And there it was. Take a look at it from this angle. I'd agree.
Now, how do we have that camera angle?
It's amazing. So it's 10-3 New England. And Gostowski will send this one into the end zone. Falcons will start from the 20. So Ryan drafted in the first round, number 3 overall, 2008. Most home wins in their first 40 starts. Roger Staubach, Darryl LaMonica. Brett Favre won 35 of his first 40 starts. And there's Ryan, who can tie Brett. And the irony would be that Brett actually started his career here, and then the trade was made in year 2. Ryan starting 7 for 7, but 50% since then from the 20-yard line. Again, had a good opening drive, but it bogged down, and they settled for the 3 points they have on the board right now. Ryan throws, and Gonzalez to the 31-yard line, a first down. Tackled there by McCourty, who last year moved from corner to safety.
If 20 years from now somebody asks me about Tony Gonzalez, I'll say he is the best receiver I've ever seen at extending his hands and making catches away from his body. So many of the contested catches that he makes are incredible. People draped all over him.
Underneath, that's caught. There's Gonzalez again. That's another first down to the 45-yard line. So Ryan's gone to Tony Gonzalez now 6 times for 69 yards.
This time he's working against Jamie Collins, the young rookie, and that's a young man that athletically they really feel like they might be able to stay with him. But look at those arms and how extended they are. That looks like nothing, but you have to be so strong to pull that one in.
Putting it on the ground now with Rodgers tackled by Mayo. 2:20 to go. The Falcons have all of their timeouts and the 2-minute warning, so time not an issue. Second down and 5 from the 50. Into the outside, and that's taken by Rodgers, and Rodgers will take the ball to the 33, and that takes us to the 2-minute warning. Coming with 1:56 to the half, and the Patriots up by 7. And it's first down at the 33-yard line for Matt Ryan's group. Draw, huge hole, and a 9-yard gain for Jason Snelling to the 24-yard line.
I like the call because the Patriots are playing nothing but this shell coverage and trying to double the wide receivers and double Tony Gonzalez and everybody away from the ball. If you can't run it and get them out of it, it is going to be a long night. Same look.
Second and 1, 24. Give it to Snelling again. This time he gets stuffed in the middle. Ninkovich is there, leading the charge, so it's going to be 3rd down and 1. Atlanta with all of its timeouts.
The frightening part is they're able to stop that run without Vince Wilfork in there. That's typically you go, okay, well, Vince Wilfork's in the middle of the defense. Of course they're going to stop people in there.
Timeout taken by Atlanta.
Well, Ninkovich coming down here just jumped inside of Trueblood that time when was able to make the play in the backfield. It's got to be so frustrating to be a top-end receiver like a Julio Jones and play against the Bill Belichick coach team, because you know coming in, he knew coming into this game it was going to be virtually impossible for him to try and make any plays. But what he does is he draws enough coverage where the other guys have to. We have to begin to see the Roddy Whites and the Harry Douglases and the Jacquizz Rodgers out of the backfield like he did earlier begin to make some plays and take some of that off of Julio Jones.
Julio's caught 2 balls tonight for a total of 6 yards. 3rd and short to give it to Snelling, and that will move the change as he gets the ball to the 20-yard line. First down Atlanta.
You know what's interesting, Al, is the fact that the Falcons still haven't really gotten the ball down the field. I think they've completed 1 pass all season, at least coming in here, at least 20 yards down the field. And there's the young center, Peter Kahns, getting the key block.
50 ticks left in the half. And they got the Patriots taking a timeout as Atlanta came up to spread it out, and Belichick calls for time.
We talked about what Bill Belichick does to top-end receivers, in this case Julio Jones. There was no doubt. You have Stephen Gregory coming over the top. Aqib Talib doesn't have to worry about him going deep. You can see he really is beat, but not really because the safety's standing behind him. So all he has to do is try and stand between him and the quarterback all night. This is probably the most fun coverage for any cornerback to play. And Talib, I would argue he might be able to play this by himself. I mean, he is that good of a cornerback on a 1-year deal, 3 interceptions already this year. I would have loved to have seen the one-on-one matchup, but so far he's had help.
46 seconds after the defensive timeout. On first down, 4-man rush. Caught. Gonzalez spins away into the end zone. He goes. spun away from Steve Gregory. He looks like he could play 17 more years.
Well, this is an issue because Dante Hightower, after he makes the hit on Gonzalez, comes off on the back coming out of the backfield. He can't do that. You can't worry about that. You've got to go get your width. That time he put Stephen Gregory in a horrible position and gave him virtually no chance whatsoever.
Taking a look upstairs, does he get in? Does the ball cross the plane? Dennard made contact at the end. Coleman has it confirmed. Good look away by Ryan to set it up. Gonzalez has caught 7 for 90 yards.
I should say thank you, Julio.
And Bryant to try to tie the game. So Julio draws a lot of the coverage. Gonzalez has had a huge first half. And with 38 seconds left in that half, we're tied at 10 in Atlanta. Quarterback comparison tonight. Brady's only put it up 9 times for 96 yards. Ryan, good first drive, good last drive, 18 of 25, and with those 18 completions, 7 have gone Tony Gonzalez's way.
Yeah, but Tom Brady knew they were going to have to run the football in this crowd as young receivers. They're doing exactly what they want to do too.
And Brady will go to work from the 20-yard line. He's got 1 timeout, 38 seconds. New England's only run 23 plays in the half, and Atlanta's run 36.
And really, Julian Edelman so far tonight shut out. And Julian Edelman really kind of picking up for Wes Welker. Given the opportunity, he's done it, and Patriots going to be happy to go in.
They'll settle for that tie, and they will get the ball when the second half begins.
We also know the Falcons have had some trouble in the second halves of games lately. We'll see how they stand up here.
Can they finish? That's what Gonzalez told Michelle in the pregame interview, and we'll see if they can tonight in a game that's very important to the Falcons, who try to get to 2-2 and keep the Saints in their sights. And New England tries to stay unbeaten a quarter of the way through the season. It's 10-10 at the half. New England's going to get the ball to start the third quarter. It's Blunt back to receive the kickoff. And Washington's kick through the end zone. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, Al, we'll start with the injuries. Vince Wilfork is out of the game because of that ankle injury. Brandon Bolden still questionable with his knee injury. I talked with Bill Belichick, asked him about his defensive priorities and how they might get reorganized here in the second half, and he said simply, we've got to do a better job on Tony Gonzalez. And that's what Mike Smith told me he expects from Belichick's defense. He hopes that opens things up for some of his other offensive weapons, but they will be without Sam Baker, who's done for the night, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. So Baker, who was questionable to begin with, coming into the game out early. Stephen Ridley starts as the running back in the third quarter, and Ridley swinging to the outside, finds room, gains 8, but you have a penalty. Walt Coleman.
Holding, number 70, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Left guard Logan Mankin's been a mainstay of that line since drafted in the first round in 05. First half numbers. New England with a rushing edge, Atlanta with the passing edge, obviously, and Atlanta really controlling the ball for a good part of it, running 36 plays to New England's 24. 10-10, the halftime score. First and 20 from the 10. Flag again, and underneath, this is caught by Ridley for a short gain.
Yeah, that time Julian Edelman mistimed the snap count. He was into that stack formation to get a better release and just took a false step forward and got caught.
2 men moving and not resetting. That penalty's declined. Second down.
And no catches tonight for Edelman. Only 5 completions tonight. 2 to Tompkins, 1 to Ridley, 1 to Devlin, and the touchdown pass to the tight end Mulligan.
Well, right now they're going backwards on this drive. It'll be interesting to see how much confidence Tom Brady has in these young receivers now. Pretty amazing, isn't it, that they've won so many different ways here. They won with Randy Moss and throwing deep. Then it was the 2 great tight ends winning that way and the no huddle. Now they've got the young receivers, so now they're back in the huddle and running the ball. Belichick and Brady just always seem to find a way to make it work.
Meanwhile, Bolden comes back into the game, but there's a little conference here. Ball should actually be, I think, at the 13-yard line or the 12, and that's what they do. They move it there. So Bolden back in again. Edelman without a catch tonight. Coming into the week, he was tied for the league lead with 27 receptions. And again, Bolden, and they break that up. Boy, that's Akeem Dent. Puts a dent into Bolden on that one. Smells it out, sniffs it out perfectly. And a loss on the play of 4. 3rd and 24.
He's been doing this for 2 games now. This Akeem Dent. I think the competition from the young linebackers, Joplo Bartu and Paul Warlow, they basically trying to run him out of a job, and Akeem Dent is having none of it. He has made a lot of explosive plays the last 2 weeks.
On 3rd and 24. Fake draw. Edelman makes his first catch of the game, but for only about 3 yards. Massaquoi making the tackle. 4th and a mile, and Atlanta should get the ball in pretty good field position.
Well, we were wondering, could the Atlanta defense come out and make a statement here in the second half, and they certainly did. That has been their struggle lately, and you wonder if it's getting inside their psyche just a little bit now, the way they've been losing games at the end.
Ryan Allen won the job over Zoltan Mesko. He's a rookie out of Louisiana Tech. Harry Douglas backing up. Good kick. Fielded at the 36-yard line. And Douglas brings the ball back to the 43-yard line, where Atlanta takes over for the first time after a 54-yard punt. Of course, Belichick through the years, the defensive mastermind. Well, you can't take everybody away, so clearly their sights have been set on Jones tonight. Julio with 2 catches, but Gonzalez able to roam free for 7 grabs.
Well, 7 for 90 and a touchdown tonight on the season coming in. Just 11 catches for 93 yards, so he's matched his production here already for the year.
From the 42.
Hey, 51, please, 51, express. Ready to go.
And that's caught by Rodgers. And Jacquez to the 46. So he lined up outside, came back inside. Ninkovich was able to get to the quarterback, and they'll go no huddle here as they did at the beginning of the game.
Another hand signal that time from Matt Ryan, that time to Jacquez Rodgers. A little pick play on the outside. Starting to look like Tom Brady in this no huddle.
Rodgers on a draw. Threads his way for a gain of 4 to the 43. Dennard makes the stop.
Obviously the crowd noise not a problem, but looks over and he goes, okay, we've got, and I think that's a signal for we're going to have a little pick play on the outside. They come in and pick Hightower loosely. It was not an illegal play at all. Just a good read, realizing that was going to be man-to-man coverage. There is not a linebacker out here tonight that's going to cover Jacquez Rodgers one-on-one.
Gonzalez up in the slot to the right on 2nd and 7. And Ryan goes the other way, and the pass is incomplete. The crowd wants a flag, but Talib with good tight coverage on Julio Jones. 3rd and 7.
This Aqib Talib is something now. I mean, Julio Jones is a great player, but when you do this kind of inside release, all the corners around the league now are ducking underneath that play, and especially when you have safety help, you can get away with that. Physical guy, big, strong. If he keeps this up this year, he is going to land some kind of a big contract. He's been fantastic.
3 receivers set to the left. Ryan pass it over the middle and incomplete. Jones dropped it. That time he was chased by Dennard, and it's 4th down.
Yeah. Ball's thrown a little bit behind. Ryan had a little pressure coming right in his face from Mayo, but for Julio, that's a relatively easy catch to open your hips. They like him in those catch and run situations. A little casual on that one.
Edelman back to receive the kick. Matt Bosher has had one punt tonight.
Nobody on either outside gunner here. They'll sprint somebody out when they snap the ball just in case. But boy, it looks tempting from here.
Bosher's first kick was 60 yards. And this kick takes him a beautiful backspin bounce and is down to the 6-yard line. Just drop the nose of the ball, kick it like a wedge, and pin New England deep. Early third, 10-10 in Atlanta. Well, New England percentage of receiving yards by tight ends. You go back to 2011 when it went to the Super Bowl, 43% by the tight ends. Last year, 31%. This year, 3 catches for 36 yards. One of them a touchdown grab tonight. Of course, this all goes back to Gronkowski and Hernandez with Brady. But you look at Brady to Gronkowski since 2010, that rating is almost perfect. And of course, Gronkowski has not played this season. The ball at the 7-yard line. Brady will give the ball to Ridley. The question about Gronkowski was when. It seemed to be during the week that there was a good chance he was going to be able to play tonight. But inactive, Belichick, you know, if you're inactive, you normally don't fly with the team, and he didn't. And there seems to be a question as to if he's ready or not and whose call it is. And normally it's got to be the player and the doctor who have to decide. But Gronkowski, according to all reports, looked pretty good in practice this past week.
I think it was Dr. Belichick that decided.
2nd down and 8 from the 9-yard line. Intended for Edelman. Of course, in today's world of speculation and Twitter and social media and everything, you'll see all kinds of stories about, you know, where is Gronkowski? Meanwhile, they want to know where Welker is. Well, he's in Denver, as we all know.
Well, the good news for the Patriots is they didn't have to have him. They're at 3-0. They're playing a game out of the conference on the road. Why not give him another week? Obviously, you want to make sure that he's healthy for the long haul.
3rd and 8 from the 9. And Brady caught by Dobson. Up at the 19, a flag is thrown. You saw the flag come through the play. And Walt Coleman will fill us in.
Illegal use of hands, hands to the face, number 23, defense. That penalty's declined. Play results in a 1st down.
That's the rookie Alford working on the rookie Dobson, who makes his first catch of the night.
They come up and jam everywhere but on the inside receiver, and Dobson just pushes him off the ball just enough to pick up the 1st down. It's one of the strategies that obviously of Mike Nolan tonight. Tom Brady has been throwing all those short, quick passes all season long. And tonight Mike Nolan said, you're going to have to throw it down the field to beat us.
What?
Play clock at 2. And he didn't get it off in time. Delay a game.
Delay of the game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
So meanwhile, will Gronkowski play next week is the question. Right on the cusp of coming back to the team. What a difference obviously it would make. We'll see. They're at Cincinnati. 1st and 15 from the 9, or from the 14-yard line. ton of time off the play fake, and then the pass is caught, juggled and caught by Tompkins. First down to the 31-yard line, covered by the rookie Trufant.
I love this young player. I really do. Kimbrell Tompkins. This is going to look like Chad Johnson. Up the field, stayed outside, then swims across. Usually when you're releasing outside on a cornerback like that, he's thinking you're going to go to the flag, you're going to break to the out. He crosses his body, kept it tight across the field, held on. Big play.
From the 32. Here's Ridley again. New receivers, Tom Brady, who's normally up at the top of the charts on just about every passing statistic. This year, lower completion. Look at that. That's the most interesting one, because 7.5 through his career and 5.5, and the rating is down as well. But a lot of, obviously, to do with a supporting cast, especially the yards per pass. 2nd and 11. And that'll be caught by Julian Edelman. So he's made 2 catches in this half. The ball to the 48-yard line. McLean makes the tackle.
Well, you finally, because of the play action fake, watch those linebackers come jumping up inside, and then you end up with just a one-on-one route, easy down the field. Remember Robert McLean in there because Asante Samuel, the Falcons' best cornerback, is not. He's out with an injured leg. And maybe Tom Brady deciding it's time to go to work on the replacement.
8 minutes left in the quarter. First down from near midfield. Brady stepping away, buying time, deep over the middle, and that's Edelman making the catch. Julian Edelman to the 16-yard line.
This is the play that's so deadly. They do so many of the stretches, and now watch the center peel back around Ryan Wendell and give him all kinds of time. It was a play in which Julian Edelman almost fell down coming off the line of scrimmage. Managed to stagger back to his feet, but because the protection was so good, Brady had time to wait on Edelman and come up with a big play.
And there's Asante Samuel inactive tonight. That was a 34-yard gain from the 18. Brady to the end zone, too deep, intended for Tompkins. You know, another guy, Danny Amendola, is a guy we mentioned at the top of the show, and not since. Another guy who's about ready to come back. Picked him up when they let Welker go to Denver as the slot guy.
You know, Al, I think you saw Brady there with a little indecision, just not sure what the young Tompkins was going to do. He saw him, and then he held on to it, and we've seen that a lot so far out of Brady. It's not that he doesn't like these guys or have confidence in them. He's just not sure exactly what they're going to do.
To the outside goes Ridley. Run out by William Moore. 3rd and 3 upcoming. Defensive coordinator of the Falcons, Mike Nolan. See what he calls up on this play. A 3rd down and 3 from the 11. And Brady to Edelman. And Edelman seeking that first down very close. Spots it across the yellow line. And that with Robert Alford, the receiver, should be enough for the naked eye for the first down.
One of the problems is when you try to go bump and run against these kinds of pressure defenses, they can just run these little rub routes and force your defensive back to go over the top. That's why very seldom do you see all 3 defensive backs on the line of scrimmage together. Just too easy to pick them.
This drive began at the 7-yard line. Holden to the 4-yard line. So Brady now has called for 4 runs and 7 passes.
I can remember talking to Peyton Manning about it and how when you want to throw the ball and you want to get your passing game going, the best way to do it is to get your running game going. And it's so hard for a young quarterback to believe in that theory. And you can see Tom Brady really embracing it here tonight.
2nd and goal. Brady stepping away, sliding, up in the air it goes, and then batted away. Loose for the moment. Tompkins was there, and Desmond Trufant, the rookie from Washington. Marcus's brother, played 10 years with the Seattle Seahawks, batting it out.
Desmond Trufant had to stop that pass twice. Good coverage, gets it there, taps it in the air, but if he doesn't come back and knock it out again, I think Tompkins is going to end up with the toe tapper. Up on the line again. They might go that pick one more time.
3rd down and goal. Brady fires low. No good. 4th down. Intended for Dobson, who's hurt. Brady wants a call in the end zone. Meanwhile, Dobson writhing in pain and holding that shoulder.
And Tom Brady was saying he was held on this one. Just he's going to try and arrow back out of that route. Little grab, but not enough to get the call. Robert Alford, the #2 draft pick this year, really getting to play in this one.
Ooh.
And then he got whacked in the head on the tail end of it.
Deku came in at the end. Brady wants the call. Dobson is still down in the end zone, and a field goal will ensue after the injury timeout. Well, fortunately, Dobson about 20 seconds ago able to sit up and now walk off his best bud. Tompkins right there, never left his side. Boy, that was a vicious looking shot that he took. And fortunately, he's able to go to the sideline under his own power.
Yeah, his just head gets bent straight back on that play. You could see it right away, but I tell you, Kimbrell Tompkins never left his side during that whole thing, concerned for his friends. Dobson telling me earlier this week, he said, hey, we're the rookies. We're always the story. I try not to read it or get caught up in it. But I knew right away Kimbrell Tompkins was going to be my best friend on this team. We hang out together. We watch movies together. We do everything because we have so much extra studying to do. Great relationship now between the two.
So Gostowski on 4th down, a 22-yard attempt to give the Patriots the lead. And with 5:24 remaining in the 3rd quarter, it's 13-10, New England. Well, there's Dobson. Great to see him sitting up on the bench. Gostowski to kick it. And Rodgers in the back of the end zone. And let's take a look at Tony G.
I just don't think there's ever been anybody better at extending his arms and making tough catches. Watch this, arms fully extended. A linebacker is going to get his hands up in between his hands and make the catch. Again, try and strip it out. It's just impossible. And then this ancient tight end who's going to retire for some reason. I have no idea why.
Maybe not.
Scores one from there. Maybe his kid will give him permission for another 10 years. He has been something.
7 catches tonight, 18 already this season. Snelling is the running back. And good tough running. Game of 5. You know, you look at Gonzalez and all the things he's done. Only one guy in the history of the league has caught more passes than Gonzalez, and you know that's Jerry Rice, who caught 1,549. Tony now at 1,260.
Probably a little better blocker than he gets credit for, but this is where he's so dangerous. You flank him out like that, and he gets a release, and you have a headache.
Green torch, 51.
Every time they motion that back in the backfield, if they don't adjust, Matt Ryan goes immediately to an audible.
Good job by the offensive line that time, and there goes Jones breaking away, and before he gets tackled, he gets to the 42-yard line. Dennard almost had him, couldn't control him, and Jones picks up the first down on a gain of 16.
They try to come back to that same audible with the wheel route going up here, but Rob Ninkovich this time fights his way over the pick, and so Ryan has to come back down, and That's not a bad choice. Get Julio Jones as your second choice on a route.
3 catches for him tonight. That's his longest, 16 yards. And this time it's Roddy White taking the ball to the 49. Tackled there by Devin McCourty as we go down under 4 minutes to play in the third.
A lot of admiration for that guy, the way he plays. He knows that just being on the field, he's a factor. He may not be right for 2 or 3 weeks still, but he has refused to come out and keeps contributing.
And second and a deuce. Snelling pushing his way to a first down into Patriot territory at the 47. And Bill Belichick has his defense with that. Wilfork lost him early in the game. Had to come off, and they've been running Villano and Chris Jones in, a pair of rookies along that defensive front. Villano in there right now. Brian Chase, and there's your first sack of the game. And we just talked about Villano playing a lot tonight, obviously because of the absence of Wilfork, rookie free agent out of Maryland. Just another free agent rookie. That they have 7 free agent rookies playing, along with 7 rookie draft choices.
Great move by Villano here, but for Peter Kahns, this is the same way he got beat several times last week. He overextends, he lunges forward and puts his quarterback in a vulnerable position.
Todd McClure had been a long-time center in Atlanta. He retired. Pass underneath. Gonzalez a little off balance as he makes the grab. Tackled by Hightower. 2.5 to go. It'll be 3rd down and 16. $14 rookies and 7 free agents. So it's been a hallmark of the Patriots through the years. They draft well. They pick up guys from anywhere and everywhere. And they win. 10 straight double-digit victory seasons. 3rd and 16. And Ryan hit as he throws, and that's incomplete. For 4th down.
The one guy that has been a contributor here is Tommy Kelly coming in through here. He's a guy that we talked about earlier, just playing on a winning team for the first time. This no huddle is probably wearing him down. Not much of a break for him with Vince Wilfork out, but able to get some pressure from the inside position. 1.5 sacks already on the season has really helped.
Bosher to punt. And Edelman sits up at his 10-yard line. And calls for the fair catch at the 11-yard line. With 1:53 to play in the third. Patriots trying to stay unbeaten. Dobson back to the locker room. 13-10 New England. Back to Atlanta, where the Patriots begin this drive from their 11 with a 3-point lead. To the outside, juggling catch made by Edelman, but for no gain. Mike Smith came here in 2008. Tom Dimitroff took over in the front office, and he was really one of the more unknown assistants. Was at Jacksonville, but 24-3 in games after a loss. He's won 14 straight games following a loss. Only once before as he started 1-2, and right now trying to avoid dipping to 1-3. 2nd and 9. What? Of course, if Mike wants to gain even more football knowledge, all he has to do is call his brother-in-law, Brian Billick.
Or turn on the TV at any point during the week. He's
Right.
on a lot.
Right.
So, but you know, Mike Smith's one of those guys, when you talk with him about a game plan, he knows details of things that are pretty amazing. And I think one of the best things he's done is what he's done with penalties with this football team. They put it up on the screen. They put your name up. They show the play repeatedly. They basically embarrass people out of penalties.
A huge point of emphasis, and it's paid off. We mentioned last year, fewest penalties per game over the last 40 years in the NFL. 3rd down and 5, and that is caught, but short of the first down. Josh Boyce. Is a flag down. Boyce, a rookie out of TCU. And Walt Coleman tells us.
Prior to the pass, holding, number 52, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Instead of a 4th down and a punt, Akeem Dent with a penalty. Speaking of, the minute we talk about no penalties, you get a penalty.
Yeah, for sure. Akeem Dent right in the middle of your screen, 52. Grabbed inside the jersey, and the official right there could not have had a better view. One thing I'm not even sure the NFL players all understand is that every single eligible receiver has an official assigned to watch him on the play. It's not like you're going to get by with something out here.
From the 21. Brady, a wobbly pass as he was contacted as he threw. And incomplete. Jonathan Babineau in his face as he got it away. It'll be 2nd down at 10.
Had an opportunity that time. The young rookie Josh Boyce on the outside got a great release and was running free down the boundary. And Brady basically just did not see him. They had an opportunity with no help over there whatsoever for a big one. And sometimes for Tom Brady, it happened to him last week too. He just was looking at the wrong side of the field because of the pressure.
2nd and 10. And a great stop in the backfield. Massaquoi making sure Bolden goes nowhere. It'll be 3rd and long when the 4th quarter begins, because that is the end of the 3rd quarter. New England 13, Atlanta 10. Sunday Night Football resumes after this. Patriots trying to go to 4-0. Atlanta trying to avoid going to 1-3. It's 3rd down and 14 for the Pats from the 17-yard line. Connolly's going to try to contend that he was forced.
It's one of the few times I saw the Falcons what looked like a pressure.
False start, number 63, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
All right, let's go to Michelle.
Well, the update on Aaron Dobson is that he is questionable with a neck injury. You saw him there on the sideline, Al, getting examined by the team doctor for range of motion and strength. And then ultimately they took him back to the locker room, which is where he remains at the moment. Questionable, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And that's why we have seen Boyce in the game. Another of the rookies. Boyce out of TCU, 3rd and 19. Crowd in full throat as Brady surveys. And the survey says he finds the open man at the 38-yard line, Tompkins. And a flag is down. A flag is down at the 35-yard line, up at the 35. Could be a hit to the head. Tompkins looked like he took a shot here. Meanwhile, that would go for 26 off a 3rd and 19.
I couldn't see. Was that William Moore who kind of launched himself at Tompkins at the tail end of the play with a protection, just made it, and he was really going to take a shot at taking his head off. I'm not sure he hit him or not.
Personal foul, hit to the head on number 25, defense. 15 yards from the end of the play, 1st down.
I didn't see the shot to the hit him with the elbow. It doesn't have to be head to head. So anything. His protection is really what is winning the battle, but this is one of those catches for Tompkins. You know you're going to get drilled. You know William Moore, one of the biggest hitting safeties, a Pro Bowler, is going to come after you on that play. It is 3rd and impossible, and once again, it is Kimbrel Tompkins that has come up absolutely huge when Tom Brady needed him most.
4 catches for 100 yards for Tompkins. And a huge hole here for Blunt. LeGarrette Blunt inside the 10 all the way to the end zone. LeGarrette Blunt, 47 yards. So it's 3rd and 19. And Bob and Jonathan Kraft can't believe what they've just seen.
the Patriots wear you out with these pulling offensive linemen. They double team at the point of attack, pull around, pick up the linebacker dent that time, and sometimes you just can't believe somebody as big as LeGarrette Blount can run like that. Comes around, seals that linebacker inside, and then Blount, who returns kickoffs at 250 pounds, finishes the deal.
And meanwhile, Dent got hurt on the play, and he's still down on the ground at the 29-yard line. And for Blount, as he goes to the end zone, that's the Patriots' first rushing touchdown of the season.
How about that transition? Third and about 19. You go huge completion over the middle to Tompkins. You get the penalty tacked on, and then you run it in the end zone from there. So what looked like an absolute punt situation, clutch catch, penalty, huge run. This is fantastic. I mean, I've been over this middle in the NFL more than a few times. He saw it. He knew what was coming. Didn't flinch. Here's a young man that has been through a lot. I'm not even going to get into all the stuff that happened to him before he was 18 years old, but he has battled back. He knows he's the luckiest man on earth to have an opportunity to be playing in the NFL with some of those things that he's been through. And there they are, Julian Edelman with one little block to spring him, and there he goes.
Yeah, the Cliffs Notes version at Oregon, punched the guy from Boise State and got suspended for most of the season. Winds up at Tampa for a couple of years. Now he's in New England. First rushing touchdown for the Patriots this season. Dent goes back to the bench. Gostowski will kick the extra point.
Reminds you a little of Corey Dillon when he came in here. Remember all that? You know,
Sure.
Always there's some noise about Corey Dillon. All he did was produce, and this guy has a lot of the same attributes.
Meanwhile, Brady can go out on the street and find 5 guys and throw touchdown passes and get touchdowns. 20-10 New England. And the kick through the end zone. Dante Scornecchia, an assistant coach, there he is, works for the offensive line, and he has been in New England back to 1982. Ron Meyer brought him there. Meyer took him to Indy for a couple of years. He came back. He's coached under Ray Berry, Dick McPherson, Bill Parcells, Pete Carroll, and of course Belichick. So normally when a new coach comes in, he revamps the staff. But here's a man who has now been under 6 different head coaches with one team. I think he does a pretty good job. Wouldn't you say, to keep him around that long?
Yeah. I'll finish up in a minute.
From the 20-yard line, here's Ryan with a soft pass and a nice run here by Rodgers to get 9.
The only thing tougher than trying to tackle one of the backs from New England is trying to get an interview with that guy right there. During the Super Bowls, everybody's available. You all got to come on the field, and there's a billion reporters and all that kind of stuff. They said that he went over and stood on the farthest piece of grass that he could find hidden behind the tunnel, which qualified as coming out there. They had to come drag him out there for some interviews.
2nd and 1. Gonzalez makes the. Well, of course, Belichick is so expansive, you don't need Scornecchia,
Well,
right?
of course. No, that's absolutely true. How about that one? Extended arms and the toe tapper to go with it here. You can't make this catch unless you're willing to reach out away from your body. There he goes. Look at that. Full extension on the arms, which gives him plenty of room to get the 2 feet down. It's been a show tonight from Tony Gonzalez.
9 catches for 107 yards for the 37-year-old Tony Gonzalez. Ton of time. Launching it deep. White has to turn around. He's going to draw a flag, though. Talib with him. And you saw the flag come in. And it's going to go against Talib.
It's pretty interesting. I wasn't sure which way that one was going to go. There's a little hand checking going back and
Pass
forth.
interference, number 31, defense. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
Talib kind of grabbed the right arm of Roddy White as he was going down the field. Was in perfect position. All he had to do is turn his head. But you can see he hooked that right arm underneath, sort of did a power curl with it right there. Good call by the official.
38-yard penalty. From the 23. Ryan down the sideline. The receiver White fell down. 2nd and 10. Tommy Kelly, you saw him shaken up on the prior play. He's come out.
The pass rush really has not been a factor for either team tonight. These quarterbacks have been able to do what they want. But this is where the Atlanta Falcons have fallen apart yet again. Remember, they had a chip shot field goal. They bypassed, went for it on 4th down, or this would have been a 1-touchdown game.
And 1 sack in the game that belongs to the Patriots. 2nd and 10. Through the middle, inside the 20-yard line goes Rodgers. Jacquizz Rodgers to about the 18, 3rd and 5.
So now your top 2 defensive tackles out of the game. You're playing 2 deep safeties. You have to be able to run the football here inside. And for my money, Jacquizz Rodgers would be the guy in both the passing game and the running game. I think in some of those one-on-one coverages, he just has an advantage. He's small, he's quick, he can get open.
3rd down 5. 3 receivers, including Gonzalez, coming off the right side. And Ryan's going to get stuffed at the 27-yard line. The pump fake pulled it back down. And Michael Buchanan comes in, a rookie out of Illinois, picked in the 7th round.
Pretty good coverage this time down the field. Gerard Mayo has been working on Gonzalez all night, was able to maintain contact. I'm sure Tony's going to say, what happened about the illegal contact down the field? And then they jump all over Roddy White as well. Aqib Talib said, you didn't deserve that one down there. And there's Buchanan stepping up.
So now a 45-yard attempt to try to make it a 1-possession game again. Matt Bryant out of the Matt Bosher hold. And the kick is good to draw them to within 7. 11:52 left in regulation. 20-13 Patriots. Kick through the end zone as we go back to look at the work done by that offensive line.
Well, you talked about Dante Scarnecchia and the schemes they draw up. So much mobility between the tight ends and the pulling offensive linemen. So as a defensive lineman, you don't have a lot of confidence screaming up the field because people hit you sideways. But really the key to all this is that you can double team at the point of attack. The 2 guys on the left double team, come around and kick out that linebacker from the backside. Well-designed, well-executed running game tonight by Dante Scarnecchia and this offensive line.
Pats begin from the 20-yard line. Ridley is the running back. Play action. The pass to the sliding Julian Edelman. Complete. Here's Michelle.
Well, a couple linebackers trying to get back on the field for the Falcons, but right now no helmets in their hands. They're working out their injuries on the sideline. Akeem Dent with a right ankle, questionable. Paul Warlow with a knee, questionable. And so both of those guys don't look to be coming back anytime soon, Al.
Big loss, and that means Gaither and Nicholas, 53 and 54. The 2 backup guys are now in there. The ball's at the 36-yard line. 10th carry of the night for Ridley to the 38-yard line, and that's Gaither, 53, in on the stop.
It's just so unusual to watch the Patriots playing like this, going back to the huddle, not spread out. But this is all they have left as far as wide receivers are concerned. They have Julian Edelman, Aaron Dobson got hurt, Josh Boyce is in there, and Kimbrel Tompkins. So there just isn't the ability to go to that kind of spread out or the 2 tight end offense because they don't have receiving tight ends on the roster right now.
Just find a way to win, and that's what they've done in the first 3 games, and trying to make it 4, and then it's dropped. So that's Tompkins, who's had a big night, but also a couple of drops. A kid who, tough upbringing, went to a couple of junior colleges in California, El Camino And Palomar actually roomed with Phil Simms' son at one point.
He did. Matt Sims out there. Phil Simms used to have to buy him all dinner. He was still complaining about it. But you can see as you get the running game going, all of a sudden now you go play action, get guys wide open. That was a big miss that time by Tompkins.
Went to Tennessee for a few minutes and played at Cincinnati, and now here he is tonight with 100 yards in receptions. 3rd and 8. Edelman got free, spun to the outside, off to the races he goes, and finally taken down at the 18-yard line. Made a good inside move to fake out the back, and then McLean has to chase him down, but not until he picks up 44 yards.
Yeah, you read releases here, so when he comes inside, you got to jump inside and take that, but then when Edelman goes back out, there's nobody left, and he takes off for yet another big play.
44 on a 3rd and 8. Edelman, all of his catches in this half, and he's now gained 118 yards.
Robert McLean played really well in the first half. Now they seem to be getting after him a little bit.
Under 10 left. Quick drop, fade, and it is caught. Tompkins beats Trufant for the touchdown.
Well, when I first saw this, does he land inbounds?
Well, everything is reviewed, all scoring plays. Real simple. Here it is again.
Makes a beautiful catch. Elbow is down. Remember it. Oh, 1 knee equals 2 feet. Well, so does 1 elbow. If that elbow hits first, no matter what happens with the feet, you got to catch.
All right, possession is one thing. Has it.
Does he maintain it throughout? Yes, he does.
Does that, but the question is the elbow forearm on the chalk? That's the whole issue. Meanwhile, Tompkins is down probably from exhaustion as much as anything.
He has had some night. I mean, you think about the idea of a free agent coming in here and having this kind of impact on the New England Patriots. It's just remarkable. I'm proud of the way he's playing out here tonight.
Touchdown confirmed. Extra point is good. 27-13. New England. .943 left. 27-13 New England. And Matt Ryan will go to work at the 20-yard line. Meanwhile, the rookie receivers, the first 2 weeks trying to get in sync. 9 out of 34 is terrible, of course, for 145. Then they had 10 days off before game 3 last week against Tampa Bay. A lot better. Tompkins caught those 2 touchdowns. And then tonight, you've got the 1 touchdown grab right there. 6 out of 14. 5 of those to Tompkins, and the other was to Dobson for 10 yards. TD again here.
Tompkins was telling me the first time he ever met Tom Brady. Brady came up and said, "What's up, KT?" Knew my school, knew all about me, and said felt right at home right away. And right now you can tell by the way Brady's reacting. He's seeing some potential out there.
And Ryan's going to go very deep, and Talib is right there to pick it off. Had inside position on Jones, played it just perfectly for the interception.
I don't think Matt Ryan can believe it. Julio Jones is the guy that wins all these battles, and this year Aqib Talib continues to win. This is one-on-one. This is no help. All the other stuff we talked about, this was Julio Jones' opportunity to make a play, and Talib just too good. He's done it all season long. I hate to even think where the Patriots would be right now without the ability of Aqib Talib to take away the other team's top receiver. He's been brilliant.
Well, that is 4 interceptions for Talib.
Price of Talib is going way up.
Patriots have a total of 5, 4 by that man. And now the Patriots can begin to think about a little clock ball as Blunt gets tackled by Bartu.
You know, we all know about Aqib Talib and his history and what happened in Tampa, and all Bill Belichick does is brings them in here, and there hasn't been 1 ounce of a problem. You know, there's something about when they come in, they play for the Patriots, whatever their issues may have been before, they disappear. And they play great football for them, and Aqib Talib at the top of that list.
2nd and 11. Brady under pressure, gets it away. Shoot, top catch made. And for a big gain and a first down is Josh Boyce. Another of the rookies. Pressure put on Brady that time. Boyce picked in the 4th round, gain of 24.
Well, just a great play by Brady just to see this thing. He's going to come all the way across the field here, but really the play was made. Brady under total pressure and just had to flip it out at the last second. Here's that little boot pass. He's going to get drilled, and just before it hits the ground, Boyce gets it off the ground.
From the 36. Big hole exploited by Blunt, close to a first down. Chris, think about this. You got Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, the 2 elite quarterbacks of their generation. You got Peyton right now.
Illegal shift. 2 men moving and not resetting on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
And Peyton may have, you know, the best receiver combination in the league right now. Decker and Demaryius Thomas and Julius Thomas and of course Wes Welker. And then you've got Tom playing with guys who I said at the top of the show needed name tags 3 months ago.
Yeah, and you know it has to kill him to watch Wes Welker out there playing with Peyton Manning. But keep an eye on this team. And remember now, they're 3-0 with the strong possibility now moving on to 4-0. And these rookies are making big jumps week to week. These aren't little jumps we're seeing.
Here's Tompkins. 7 drafted rookies, 7 free agent rookies, and Tom's bunch. Aaron Dobson, 2nd-round pick out of Marshall. There's Boyce, who made that last catch, 4th round. TCU. We talked a lot about Tompkins tonight, undrafted. Came out of the University of Cincinnati. Zach Sudfeld, the guy we haven't talked very much about tonight, out of the University of Nevada, tight end who played in the slot.
Body language is a little different out of Tom than it was the first couple of weeks.
Pretty good. 2nd and 6. This is LeGarrette Blunt. Well, this is going to be the big test tonight for New England, and so far so good for them and not so good for Atlanta. By the way, Denver goes to New England this year, just in case you're wondering. Sunday Night Football.
There you go. There you go. I wonder if Peyton Manning will have thrown an interception yet by then. What is he now? 16 touchdowns
and
0 interceptions.
Yeah, that's coming your way in November. And before that, by the way, Denver makes an appearance in Indianapolis. Hello.
There we go.
Peyton back to Indy on Sunday night. On 3rd and 4. Brady. Incomplete. Boyce covered well that time. Trufant Babineau came in and knocked Tom to the ground, and it's 4th and 4.
Didn't you love watching the one press conference, though, of Tom Brady, where he said, you know, I've really got to work on my body language. You know that underneath he was going, I can't believe I'm saying this. I absolutely can't believe I'm having to get up here and talk about my body language on the sideline. But it was making him insane. He really didn't know where these young kids were going. And as a result, you could almost see him throwing some balls in the dirt and double clutching some throws.
49-yard attempt here to make it a 3-possession game. And that kick is good by Gostowski to make the score 30-13 New England with 6:18 remaining in the game. The Falcons building an early season small hole. It's now turning into a pretty good cavity as they're on the precipice of going to 1-3. Saints are unbeaten. They play tomorrow night. Look over the shoulder of Arthur Blank, the owner of the team. And Harry Douglas down by 17 with 6:18 to play. Falcons will get the ball when we come back at the 20-yard line on Sunday Night Football from Atlanta. NFC South, New Orleans 3-0. They play tomorrow night against Miami at home. Atlanta could go to 1-3 with a loss here. Carolina with a bye, 1-2. Tampa Bay losing to Arizona today, and that's the South. So for the Saints, a golden opportunity to go up by 3 and have a head-to-head win against the Falcons. If the Falcons can't overcome a 17-point deficit, Ryan will throw, and Jones is there, but fronting him was Alfonso Denner. Boy, they're doing a great job on Jones tonight, 2nd and 10.
That's the same thing. We've seen it all night long. The extreme double team on the outside. And Julio Jones, you know, you can't beat that coverage no matter what you do. He's just trailing and looking and then just going to poke the football out. It has been a rough night for Julio Jones, but Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia and those guys have done this to everybody. It drives you nuts when your star players are non-factors.
Pressure on Ryan. He throws, and there is Jones, who loses the ball, but fortunately for him, out of bounds as they retain possession, just making sure that he had possession before he lost the ball. Two officials coming to that conclusion, and it is a completion. Well, they're going to bring Walt Coleman in and have him adjudicate in the ultimate.
Well, there's no doubt he turned up
completed
the
pass
field.
and a fumble forward out of bounds. We'll bring it back to the spot of the fumble. First down.
Right, so cost him a yard or so.
But Julio Jones made a great move that time on Denner, but he makes the catch and turns his head upfield, so it's clearly a catch. You just can't fumble the thing forward at that point. But tonight it has been Tony Gonzalez who has picked up the pace, and really nobody else. There hasn't been another guy that has really been able to take over. I think Roddy White is still banged up, and Harry Douglas really was a non-factor.
And meanwhile, now you got Jones shaken up, and you got Belichick, who's going to challenge that he had possession before he lost the ball. So Belichick's going to challenge the ruling, which is a complete pass for a gain of 17.
I think he's going to say the ball was still moving in his hands.
Yep.
You know, it's always one thing in slow motion, and then you look at it in real time, and I think that's a catch.
I do too. But we mean nothing.
No, that's for sure. We've proven that over the years.
Tell me.
But I tell you, what a job this organization has done under Bill Belichick. I had a chance to visit with Jim Brown this week, the great superstar of the Cleveland Browns. And of all the friends in his life, Bill Belichick is one of the top 3. Bill goes to prisons, to schools, does so much work in the inner city, and nobody ever knows about it. You know, you think he's not front and center when it comes to press conferences. When it comes to charitable work and getting involved with young people, he does it in a very quiet way, but you talk to Jim Brown and says it's remarkable. He goes in there and has a major impact on those young people's lives.
The coach's coach doesn't like to talk very much about himself. Look at that, 39 consecutive seasons in pro football, topped only by Dick LeBeau, who we saw last week in his 41st consecutive season in the National Football League, either as an assistant coach or in LeBeau's case a head coach as well.
You know, the other one is Robert Kraft that you have to talk about a little bit. Since he took over in '94, his team leads the NFL in wins, division titles, conference titles, and Super Bowl titles. Can't get any better than that. And this was a franchise that couldn't win a game hardly before he got there. Probably saved the franchise from moving. And now he gets to pose with pictures with everybody.
Floyd Mayweather? I'm just looking at this thing. Hold on. You know, so
it is.
Yeah, it is. Floyd's going. I told you I was going to lay the points
The replay
tonight.
system is not working. The ruling on the field stands. New England will not be charged a timeout.
Did George give you that line too?
No, he did not.
Throw George under the bus.
He did not give me that line. So the replay equipment was wonky. Is Belichick's response.
He has such a great sense of humor about things like that, doesn't he?
Well, you're right about him. He does a lot of stuff. Doesn't want to talk about it. Doesn't talk about a lot of things. The ball to 37. And Ryan throws. And it's tipped and it's incomplete. Talib got his hand on it.
Yeah, we talked about a little bit about the Patriots and all the things that are going right for them. For the Falcons, so many things going wrong right now. Arguably, their three best defensive players, Sean Weatherspoon, Croy Bierman, and Asante Samuel, not able to make it out here in this one. And as the injuries to the inside backers continue to mount, all of a sudden you can't make plays. There's Steven Jackson, who hasn't been a factor the last couple of weeks, big free agent acquisition. So they don't really have their horses out there, but let's face it, the Patriots haven't either, and they're still sailing along.
Jackson with the injured hamstring. Ryan's going to shovel it to avoid the sack. Gets it away. Incomplete. Let's go to Michelle.
Al, I spoke with Steven Jackson on the field before the game. He had really hoped he was going to be back tonight. He wanted to play in this game, but he has yet to be cleared medically. Seems very upbeat and optimistic that he will be cleared medically for next week's game, and that's all that he needs. He said he feels good, just needs the medical clearance.
Well, they need him back because he is a key and vital part of what's going to have to be a very uphill battle right now. If they lose tonight, next week they've got the Jets, the week after that Tampa Bay here, then at Arizona and at Carolina. So they have a chance to get healthy. Harry Douglas makes the catch. And Douglas is inside the 30 and out of bounds at the 22-yard line. So the Falcons still with a pulse with 5.5 minutes to go.
Well, this is what they've needed all night long. The other guys to make plays. This time makes a little move right across the middle, one-on-one, wins the battle. His quickness, he should be able to do that more often. But because of the fact that they were not really able to commit to the run game the way that they were able to a week ago, the Patriots haven't come out of this two-man coverage, and it's been tough to throw the ball.
Jones on the bench, so Julio gets shaken up. He's still not back in. 40-yard gain for Douglas. Ryan will throw, and that's backhanded and caught by Roddy White. Flag down. White tackled by Talib. There's Jones on the
pass
Falcon
interference,
bench.
number 84, offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
So White, that gets negated here.
One of the hard parts when you have a bad ankle is you can't make those sharp cuts anymore. So here you're going to see Roddy White come down, and instead of making a move inside, planning hard on that leg and coming out of it, your tendency is to do that, to do a little push-off. And he's doing his best to try and battle through this thing, but he has not been the Roddy White that has, I think, 5 or 6 straight years over 1,000 yards.
1st and 20 after the interference call. And that is caught. And this time it is Tony Gonzalez who picks up the first down on a 1st and 20. He gains 22. And for Gonzalez tonight, 10 catches and 129 yards.
You know, it's art for me to watch him catch the football.
From the 11. Ryan in there throwing, and it is caught. Tony Gonzalez, 11 catches, touchdown Atlanta. 7 plays, 80 yards, and there is still life in the Falcons with 4:22 to go.
Every catch he's made has been a contested catch. He is not running wide open. This is a young quarterback. Logan Ryan in here. There's the first one up high. What are you going to do? Nothing. And then you come back to the touchdown. I mean, this is good coverage. You can't say he's not covered, but his ability to extend those arms, reach out, and you can see Matt Ryan doesn't care if he's covered or not. He's just bigger and stronger than the guys defending him.
Ryan. And that's the 50th point of the game. With New England leading by a score of 30-20 with 4:22. remaining in regulation. Look at that, 11 catches, thrown to 12 times through the years. Came up with Kansas City, spent a dozen years with the Chiefs, broke in 97. Has always stayed in fantastic shape and condition, rarely injured. 17 years. Well, he almost, you wonder, he almost hung him up. If they had gotten to the Super Bowl and won, would he have?
Oh, I think without question, don't you?
Yeah.
He looked at this team. They were so close a year ago. He finally got a playoff win. Was so emotional after that game. You know what's in his heart. You know what he wants. He just can't seem to get it. And right now what he wants is the possibility of an onside kick. This is an interesting call here. You got time to pull this off and kick it deep if you want, but can you stop them? At some point you have to stop Tom Brady, and that may weigh into this decision as well.
Could go either way here, but the Patriots have to guard against the possibility of the onside kick, and here it is, and the ball is loose, and the Falcons are going to come up with a football. Stephen Nicholas comes up with it after Zach Sudfeld, the tight end, in there tried to handle it and couldn't.
It's tough. They do this sort of fake it to the right, kick it to the left, and all that comes down to is can Sudfeld come up with this ball, but it takes that weird hop. I've tried to field those 1,000 times. You practice it, and there's really no way to practice bad hops. You have no idea which way that thing's going to go. And here we go. This is an opportunity now. We've seen the Falcons and Matt Ryan in the past make some miraculous comebacks. Does he have one more in him?
A lot of time, 4:21. You've got all your timeouts. You have the 2-minute warning as well. So 4 clock stoppages available along the way. And the pass is caught by Douglas, and he'll get ridden out after a gain of 7 yards by Kyle Arrington.
And this thing kind of got jump started really because the video equipment for instant replay did not work. Bill Belichick was convinced that this was not a catch. Make your own case. I'm going to say that it was anyway, but I don't know if I'm going to convince Bill of that.
Yep. That's what happens when you get with rabbit ears and aluminum foil. 2nd and 3 from the 45. Jones is still not back in the game. Julio's on the bench, and the pass is caught by Douglas. Arrington is right there to stop him immediately. It's a first down. Here's Michelle.
Well, Julio Jones moments ago was on the bench, questionable with a knee injury. Then Tony Gonzalez scored that touchdown. Jones was back on his feet. He's got his helmet on. He's lobbying to get in the game, Al.
He's ready. Thank you, Michelle. We saw him walking around. It's first down at the 41. Ryan, that pass is out of bounds. We got a flag down.
And we've got a lot of picking going on at the bottom of the screen. They're trying to get freed up some of these receivers.
Prior to the pass, holding number 25 defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Arrington. Meanwhile, we're told the video equipment is not working again.
So Kyle Arrington here is doing his best to try and hold up, but you can see it's these sort of quick releases and little picks that are getting these receivers open. But finally, some of these other guys, in particular Harry Douglas, starting to have an impact.
Jones has come back in. And the pass is caught by Jones, who gets right back in the game. Denner saying he was pushed off.
He absolutely was.
Yep.
Absolutely was.
No flag.
Julio Jones, as that ball is coming down, is going to extend his arm and push off. Great release off the ball. Here he is. I can't see it very well on that side. But you could see the extension right there, and what that does to Dennard is he can't jump. A little late to see it that time. Wonder if that heel came down.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Because if it did, that is out.
Well,
the toe-heel thing is out.
But too late to challenge. And the pass is caught inside the 10. Gonzalez again. A dozen catches. Gregory with a coverage on the play. 148 receiving yards for him.
This is as good a clinic by a tight end as I have seen catching the football. This is like Gronkowski or whoever else you want to say, whoever your favorite tight end of all time. It's amazing.
2nd down and 1. Ryan is chased and just has to throw it out of the ballpark. So it'll be 3rd down and 1. 3:05 left. Gone down the field in 1 minute and 16 seconds from their own 48 and haven't had to use a timeout. All right, 1 foot down and the 2nd foot is in. Yep.
So even though the toe is in, the heel has to come down inbounds as well. The old toe heel deal. But now we've got a 3rd down, and you really need to think about picking up this 1st down. Wouldn't be surprised if they ran the football here with Snelling.
He flanks Ryan. And now you got a timeout taken by New England as they took a look at that alignment. And Belichick wanted to take a timeout for his defense.
You know, we have to go back still to that 1st half and the decision by Mike Smith to not kick that field goal on 4th and 2 down there early in the game. And you and I were both talking about it. It's like, boy, early, you always want to put those points on the board. But I think he was worried about playing against Brady and trying to match points and all that kind of stuff. But 3 points sure would be looking pretty good on that board right now.
As I recall, he was 7-3 at that point. New England could have made it 7-6, opted to go for it. Wide receiver comparison tonight. So they've gone Jones's way a dozen times, but he's only caught 5. White's been thrown to 8 times. He's caught 3. But Tony Gonzalez, that's a whole different issue. 12 catches, 149, 2 touchdowns.
Don't be surprised if Levine or Lolo, number 80, is involved down here. This guy is 6'8". I think he's at the top in the slot up there. And is a weapon down here in the red zone.
Caught a touchdown pass last week against the Dolphins. And to the back of the end zone to that man.
Had him.
They went to the 6'8" to Lolo.
If anything, maybe a little too low. Couldn't tell if it got broken up or he just mishandled it. But this is one at a 6'8". You want to throw this one higher than this. Give him a chance to go over the goalpost and go get. Oh, it hit him right in the hands. Can't do much better than that. I mean, you just have to make that play.
Have to. So now in a 10-point game, you're going to need the field goal one way or another, and they'll take it now. So they'll try to make it a 7-point game, going for the 25-yard chip shot. And that puts them within 7 with 2 minutes and 55 seconds remaining. 30-23.
Same decision coming now on the onside kick, but you effectively have 4 timeouts to work with here. But it does mean you have to make a stop, and you also have to turn around and look at what you have on the defensive side with some of these guys out of the game. Akeem Dent, Paul Warlow. Those are the guys you're used to making plays on the defensive side. Do you think that you can stop? I'm going to guess LeGarrette Blount at 250 pounds will be in the game. Can you stop him from picking up a 1st down or 2?
Very much the same issue that they had. They onsided it one time. They got away with it because Sudfeld couldn't handle it, and it was recovered by Nicholas. Do they do it again?
The play I always like to think about here is a little pooch over the top. Even if then the ball's bouncing and scrambling, back in this kind of area here, there's opportunities for a crazy hop or 2 back there. But even if you don't, then you don't get it. At least they're backed up some. Sort of a halfway house.
Here we go again. A little bouncer. And this time it is New England with Michael Hoomanawanui coming up with it. Longer to pronounce his name than the play took.
Your worst nightmare that he recovered that ball. Manawanui here comes up with a big play. The play that Zach Sudfeld could not, and that is clutch. There are so many guys. He got a nice convenient hop on that one that helped his cause.
Gathered it in now. The ball's at the 46, and now Atlanta is compelled to use its timeouts on defense. The running back is Ridley. They give it to him, and Ridley finds a nice little hole to the 38-yard line. Now if you're Atlanta, it's going to be 2nd down and short. Where do you take your timeout?
Makes it tough, doesn't it? Because
absolutely.
You almost have to assume the first down there now.
Yep.
Jonathan Babineau almost broke that play up in the backfield. Came very close to possibly causing a fumble there.
It's a big difference between like 2nd and 8. Then you take the timeout, 2nd and 2. You're in no man's land. Blunt is the running back.
It could be 4-down territory here too.
Brady milks the clock. Brady's going to sneak and come close. The clock keeps running, and that's going to take us, unless they take a timeout here, to the 2-minute warning, which it does. So Brady very close to picking up the first down. But he is a little bit short. So 2 minutes to go. New England trying to hold on in Atlanta on Sunday Night Football. Two minutes. It's 3rd down and inches from the 36-yard line.
I think they go for it twice here. There's no way in the world they're going to try that long field goal to give up that field position if they miss it. I don't think they're going to punt it from the 37-yard line. My guess is you're going to get Tom Brady twice with a quarterback sneak.
Well, he is so proficient at it, so efficient at it. They line up tight except for Edelman to the right side. And Brady will hand the ball off. And with that second burst, it's Blunt. He was stopped initially behind the line of scrimmage, and then Blunt with that second effort. Of course, we'll see where they put the ball down. And it's right where the yellow line is. So now obviously Walt Coleman is going to have to bring the chain gang in. Bill talking to the guys upstairs, the assistant coaches. Where are we here? Blunt stopped there. And then that thrust forward, he had William Moore stopping him behind the line of scrimmage.
I almost think.
Look at this. Look at this.
You know what's interesting about that is when you watched it in real time, the ball landed essentially either on or across that yellow line. Now there's nothing official about that, but sometimes you can take a look.
Well, you know, the thing with Belichick now is there's no challenges in the last 2 minutes. So it would have to be stopped from upstairs.
See, I think that ball landed on that yellow line.
Well, Coleman is now saying an Atlanta timeout because otherwise they would wind the clock after a running play. That has to stop it. Now, do they want Coleman to come over and look at this? Remember, it has to come from upstairs. They have to say this is worth another look.
And you wonder if that timeout's going to give them that opportunity.
The previous play will be reviewed.
There you go. So they're reviewing it upstairs, but Coleman's now going to come over and look at this. That's the only way you can stop it here with no coaches' challenges in the last 2 minutes.
Again, there's nothing official about that yellow line that we saw, but let's see where this ball, it looks like it is across that next yard marker, and that would be a first down right there. Now he does shuffle it forward.
It's the 36-yard line. He's either right on it or just behind it.
Now, obviously, he's down when the forearm hits there, and he does shove it ahead. But again, the ball at that point was on the yellow line as we see it. There's nothing official about that yellow line. It's going to come down to, can the official find a marking on the field that can help him mark this football? Let's see. Is there anything around there that can help him other than that yellow line? I think he has the first down. It's going to be a matter if the official can find something to help him spot that ball and move it.
Yep. No matter what happens here, Atlanta took the timeout. They cannot get it back, even though it's stopped for this. The timeout is gone, period. They're down to 2.
And then if it is not a first down, now Belichick has to make the decision. Do you take a chance on the field position? Can't imagine him punting the ball, and I can't imagine a field goal here. I think he goes for it.
Well, I can't imagine a field goal because that would give Atlanta the ball back at the 43
After
or so.
reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Fourth down.
Yeah, he can't see enough.
It
to change
stands
it. You're talking
and
about
not
inches.
confirmed. You know, the word stands and
Right.
not confirmed. So here we go, and he is going to go for it, or at least go to the line of scrimmage and bark out a few signals.
So fourth down and a couple of links.
Be careful now. Tom Brady sometimes can go quick count on a play like this, and before the guys even know what happens, he sort of has the first down.
Or hard count. We talked about his proficiency going for a first down on 3rd or 4th and 1 when he either goes right through the middle or finds that hole. Bob and Jonathan Kraft watching their team trying to stay undefeated. 4th and inches, and Brady dropped the ball. And Atlanta's going to get it at the 38-yard line. So Brady juggling the snap, coming away from it from Ryan Wendell. And Atlanta gets a huge break with 1:50 and 2 timeouts.
It happened to them earlier this year, a fumble in a key situation. He was not going to sneak it for the second straight time, and he simply pulls out a little too soon. A lot of times, centers, when they know they have to get down so low, the angle of the snap gets changed. And you could see Ryan Wendell ducking his head quickly, and you just wonder if it just didn't change the point at which Tom Brady typically gets the ball. And here we go. How about this? It looked like the Falcons were completely dead, and this guy is as good as it gets when it comes to fourth quarter comebacks.
Since 08, you saw the graphic. That's when he came into the league. 22 fourth quarter comebacks. Most of anybody, 1st and 10. Ryan with a deep drop and a ton of time going for Jones down the sideline. And Julio Jones at the 14-yard line is able to make the catch, covered by McCourty. What a play.
Get out of here. This didn't fool McCourty even a little bit. Out and up the field. He sees it all the way. Julio Jones just too big, too strong. That's a remarkable catch. I mean, this is just one athlete out-dueling another athlete, and put it in the vice grips. Look at this.
Safety help over the top from McCourty, who was also a cornerback when he came into the league. Couldn't do anything with it. Jones, 6th catch. He's over 100 yards. 60 seconds. From the 13. Ryan, too high to the outside for Douglas. 2nd and 10.
Tony Gonzalez has been such a threat in this game. They are now double teaming him off the line of scrimmage. Both of these guys are going to bang him before he gets off there. They are not going to give him a free release, but you have to imagine. Here's Julio Jones play. This is fantastic. We have seen some catches the last couple of weeks on Sunday Night Football. I can't imagine this sequence without Tony Gonzalez getting a chance, though. Some way, somehow, he's been too good.
He's wide left. You got Jones in the slot to the right side. You got Ryan gunning it over the middle and incomplete for Gonzalez, who looks for the flag and sees none. Gregory covering, 3rd and 10.
It's a bad play. It's a bad throw by Matt Ryan. You've got a guy, give him a chance to put it on his body. He's working against Logan Ryan inside, and by putting it that far in front of him, this guy has the ability. He had position on Gregory. There's no way he was going to go through him, and he overthrew the ball. It's just a bad throw.
Ryan over 400 yards tonight, 3rd and 10. 2 shots at it. Obviously, we'll go for it on 4th down, 3rd down from the 13-yard line.
Double jam again on Gonzalez.
3-man rush. Underneath, caught at the 11-yard line, Rodgers, and he will be stopped just inside the 10. So it will come down to converting on 4th down. They take a timeout here. They have 1 left and it comes down to a 4th and 7.
Does it every game with the Falcons seem like it comes down to this? The playoffs last year, the Saints earlier this year.
Meanwhile, Dennard is down for the Patriots, and there he is. That's a key, very key loss, especially before the biggest play of the game.
Gonzalez was mauled on that play. There was no way they were going to let him. It's like a gunner on a punt team right now, what they're doing. Look at that. I've only seen that done on Calvin Johnson on the goal line. That's the only two in the history of the NFL, the only 2 times I've ever seen it. They're going to double team him again. They're just going to hammer him. They are not letting Tony Gonzalez off the ball. Top of the screen.
Jones wide left, bottom of the screen. 4th and 7. And the pass for White is batted away. Aqib Talib. What a night for him. So Talib, who starts on Jones and does a great job on him, and then they switch the defense, and there's a smile on the face of Belichick as they escape a bullet here.
Single coverage inside. Aqib Talib, one of the heroes here tonight. No question about it. Roddy White simply unable to break free. His ankle is not allowing him to play up the speed. But Aqib Talib is the difference maker. Here's the coverage. Brilliant defense. Let's give Matt Patricia credit. He had to make that adjustment on the fly. I don't even know how they made the call in to do that. But they can do anything with this bunch. Brilliant.
They make the call. Atlanta can take its final timeout, and then Tom can run the clock out. And not only that, they lose Dennard on the play before that. You lose a starting corner. You put Talib all over the field. You double Gonzalez. You single Jones, and you win the ball game.
Aqib Talib is a huge part of the reason this team is going to be 4-0. Absolutely a huge part. There is no way this team can get away with some of the defenses they've been getting away with without that guy right there being able to take away the other team's best receiver. In the clutch, delivers again.
That was the checkmate smile from Belichick.
Yeah, one from Talib as well.
Game over. Patriots in their first real big test of the season come in.
You just cannot say enough about what Bill Belichick does to take away your best player. It started off being Julio Jones. As the game progressed, it became Tony Gonzalez. They made the switch and won the game because of their defensive strategy.
And an offense with a whole bunch of guys with "Hello, my name is" tag.